Hello, this is Brian Whitten and ET Art. I've got an image on the screen now. I'll just insert a rock and show you what rock this imagery was off. What I wanted to get to, straight to the point today, is to look at some of the imagery in this area here and go on discussing two things, which is the event itself and the time, and as the video is called, Power of the Force, the actual power of the event itself when it is not treated with people that have a device in our planet that can make the Earth spin far slower than it is about to. Before I go on, if you're a young person, 8, 9, 10 or younger, can you go and get your mum and dad, please? We don't want you to watch this video just yet until you've let your mum and dad watch it, and if they say it's okay, well then fair enough. What we've got here, and I want you to watch when I play this, is this portion of the screen here. I will start it playing and I will let you watch it. Now I've just started that video off. What I'll get you to do is watch, if you would, this portion here. I'll put it in a position where we get a little bit closer to what I want you to see, which is about here. This area here, when we go through this portion, and the reason I wanted to show you this first was that we are seeing, in my opinion here, when you get the light right, you can get a situation where you're looking at what appears to be a depiction of mind control here, that there is a man sitting here, or at least kneeling down, and it begins to see back in here, there, certain places where there appears to be people sitting at desks, right? And there's a swirling line coming back off this guy here, back to these people, and you can see desks flash out and in here and computer tops. It would appear to me to be that they are saying in that portion there that there is mind control going down at this portion here, about there. And the reason I wanted to play that is because of a reason. I did have my son ask me, why me? Why you, Dad? Why should it be you? Listen, I'm going to cross into a few personal things in this video. I don't really like to do that. My mum was murdered in 2006 because of my efforts to go and report corruption within, the society I lived in. So that's effectively why I'm putting this in here. Now I've just started this video off. This is a video I put up called Programmable Rock, and I've turned the volume down here so we won't listen to what I'm saying on this, but what we'll do is watch what happens yet again. I have shown you this where the line gets drawn on this rock. Listen, why it's me I don't know, but it is me. This is the reality here. This is actually what's going down here, is these people, you see this line come out here with a pyramid on it, and this hook line come in here. This is the one that tells me about how the Serapeum worked, and that this half loop here was tracking that. You also notice this come out on this side. It's not just that line, it's this one here. It's hard to say that that isn't logically driven by people that built the rock, because that's what's happening there. The people are actually communicating through that rock at that time with me. I do not know why, but that's actually what's happened there. And why I started off with the imagery that I did in the first instance with the mind control thing, is I believe on Anzac Day I awoke. I had my eyes closed for just a little short time after I woke. I woke up knowing exactly what that meant, and it was actually when I closed my eyes, I believe I saw about 3 seconds of my mother's, the last 3 seconds of my mother's life, and she was in a crowded bathroom, which is why I put that there, and that is why I think it's me. I think there was some satanic ritual type aspect to Mum's murder, and that is why that happens, because the other reason is that in making these videos, twice now, my camera there has been interrupted with a card full situation. When the card is not full, I get into a habit of deleting files that I do not need before I start, because I don't want the file interrupted in me doing what I'm doing here. So I do that, pretty much religiously. if that's not the right word probably, but you know, that's what happens. I delete the files, I start with more than enough space, and twice that's happened, and twice the files names, I'll insert them now, MVI 1666, which was the last video, and the one before that was MVI 1111. And 1111 was relative because it was 111 years and 1 day since the Tunguska event to be the 1st of July, which is why this rock I insert now has 17 written on it, which is odd. But we'll come back to that. But I just wanted you to know that that's why I put that imagery in there. And I did see a vision on it. It wasn't a dream. I didn't drift off to sleep. I was wide awake, and it was about 3 seconds. I won't go into what I actually saw or who I saw, but I saw more than... There was a group of people in the bathroom when Mum was dying. It was what I wanted to say. I'll move on. Now I've got Google Earth open now, and the reason I've opened Google Earth is that I wanted to go around the planet and point out to you the things that we have here that tell us what is to be expected when our planet comes up and joins the very, very narrow horizontal plane of the Sun. Our Earth spins 1,000 RPM this way. What it's going to try and do is turn 1,000 RPM faster, which in actual fact, if I'm sitting here, where I am now, I'm facing west. This movement, if it was going to happen now, I would find my body, well, smashed into the wall there for the matter, but the reality was that if I was actually standing in the free space here, I would be 1,000 kilometres inland within an hour. So, and you hit everything in the meantime, so you're dead pretty much straight away when this event happens. We've discussed at this point that there's messages being left. I'm not going to go into that, but on this rock here, I will insert it and say that there were messages on another video that we put up directly related and directly to Mr. Trump and directly to Mr. Morrison, because of the message that's on there is actually directly related to America and Australia, and the message is written in string format. There is a device that we know called Atlantis built into our planet that is used at these times when it comes back to meet the plane, that is used to suppress this whip motion of 1,000 kilometres an hour faster, which inevitably kills everybody on the planet. Essentially, I will go through the processes, the power, the waves, the size of the waves, and the things on the planet that are here to show us exactly what's going to happen. Okay, the first place we're going to go to on our trip of doom and gloom, and then the end of the Earth, is going to be the Tunguska event. And understand why it's actually there. It's there for more than one reason, which doesn't surprise me because just about everything has more than one reason, even the design and such things. I'll insert some images now. The Tunguska event occurred in 1908. It was an event that is, well, to this point they say it's unexplained. I would expect, like most things that I've said to you, is in actual fact not the case, that most of what I'm saying is true and real and known. But the Tunguska event itself, like I said, as you can see by the squash trees, there was no meteor site or an impact site. That was there and done and happened in 1908 to give us an indication of a few things. Number one, the first thing I'd like to say is that the location of it, okay, where it is, if I zoom back out again now, it is in Russia, but it is in actual fact on the same line of longitude as this event here. This one here, it's actually on the line of longitude, comes right down here, right where it begins. And this event here was used to slow the globe. Right, so that's one of the things it's there for. The second thing it was there for was to tell us that an event like Tunguska can be used to stand the globe up in one of the, well, two of the cycles, the ones that move us out to Mars and, well, out past Mars and then back in from Mars. Both of those cycles are with the planet laying flat like this. So it transitions, it still goes around the sun, it doesn't just move out like that, it goes around the sun, but the plane of the planet, Earth, is like on a balloon. That's probably the easiest way to explain. We have an inner ring of rotation, which is the one we're on and just finishing. We're just finishing an unnatural cycle, and it's this whip of motion coming into this that causes devastation. These inserted images here of the pyramid, this is why we are getting those lessons. Because what we're getting taught in those lessons in the comets moving our planet is in actual fact giving us a lesson as what to expect when we come back to meet the plane of the sun, which is why it doesn't matter whether they tilt the Earth on a line of longitude that way or whether you speed it up that way. It's essentially exactly the same thing. It's 1,000 miles an hour very, very quickly, and it has the same effect. Now, the other reason why Tunguska is where it is, it's to mark that event is just tell you that it's had to slow the globe once before, obviously, when it speeds. When this happens, or when the whip motion is allowed to have happened, this is why Tunguska event is also. So I'll go back to these inserted pictures. What they're saying is that the event, when it happens, will break every tree. Right? So in other words, that's giving us an indication of the power of the event. So now I'll take you back to the globe. Now look where we are in Tunguska. Tunguska's in here. It's actually very, very, very close to the North Pole. Very close to the North Pole. Okay? So in other words, if it breaks the trees here, it's going to break every tree all over the Earth. Okay? And that the force at this point, because the arc is less, that the force here is actually less than everywhere else. And we're already getting towards the North Pole. So that's why Tunguska is where it is. Number one is for multiple reasons. But in the event of when we're talking about the power of the force, that's what we're talking about. Now while we're in Tunguska, I'm going to move up and take a closer look here of what was, or where there used to be, a continental mass the last time this event was allowed to happen. Because the last time this event happened, what that is showing you, if you look at the ocean floor here, is that the ice mass on, or a mass of ice on the continent there, in the event when this happens and you get the 1,000 mile per hour revolution, the weight of the ice on the continent, and this is why you see this swirl effect here, it actually just operates like an electric drill. It actually just goes straight through the ice, or straight through the continent itself. It actually drills right through the whole lot and creates that much friction that in actual fact it just blows the living crap out of it. That's what happens. There would have been a massive land here under the ice, but that's how it happens. It's actually this event, or an event where this is allowed to rotate really speedily, where that happens. It actually just drills the ice, just operates like a drill and just goes straight down through the land mass, which brings me to Greenland. The next port of call on our trip of doom and gloom is a place called the Nazca Lines, and understand what they are and what they mean in respect to the event and the warning. Okay, I'll do a few inserts now of lines that are wondered why scientists wonder. I say scientists wonder why the lines persist, and how they are managed to persist is through a management of magnetic force of the planet. That is why they're there. They're telling us we have the ability to do this, and this is why it's like it. I'll also insert here top of a mountain that is within this area, and you can see the top of this mountain has been sheared off straight. Okay, that's why that's there. It's letting you know what will happen to this landmass. Okay, because we'll go back very close to where we just were, like I said, in Greenland, and we'll have a look at that, because in actual fact here they're telling us what's going to go down. Okay, so in other words, the mountain top that you've just seen, they've just told you what's going to happen to Greenland. The ice on that, when it goes like this, is just going to slice the top off that continent, and the whole thing will just do exactly the same thing. It will blow apart with the friction, and that's why when we go to places like this, my next port of call, the place where I lived, you know, I went to a place called Christchurch. When I was in Christchurch in New Zealand, I'll just whip you away from that area just for a minute and leave Greenland where it is, and we'll come down to a place I've lived. I've actually spent some time down here in New Zealand. Okay. One thing I know with the Canterbury Plains along here, and just about every river there is in New Zealand, the entire river systems, all of them, you can see when you go down here, allow this to clear up a bit, that these river systems, that is there, is round, grey, pebbles and rocks all, you know, yay size. Everywhere. All over the entire countryside. Okay, the next place we're going to go from Greenland here, which is going to be sliced like a knife, and that's why they put that mountain sliced like that. That's what happens, it just operates like a knife, and it slices a continent in half, and the movement is enough to disintegrate the landmass. I actually believe, like I said, I've lived in New Zealand. I'll insert a few pictures that all the rivers over there are made of this rock. I find it hard to believe the entire mass of the entire Canterbury Plains has been created that way. I would expect it, get a lot of rock from here. I would expect the same thing around here. Maybe that rock is created geologically in these explosions. That's why they end up round and all round and smooth. It's not so much because of that, because they've been flying through the air as a molten thing like rain, and when it hardens into a round form or a shape like that when it's in the air falling down. I don't know, just to me, if that is what we're seeing when you go around all these top areas, the same thing as we're seeing in New Zealand. You know, I've gone to the top of mountains in New Zealand and they're smooth round river rock. How can you get a smooth round river rock? The entire mountain's made of it. It's a very, very unusual thing. I'm going to go from here to the next place, which is, albeit you may think it is not associated, it is very, very, very much associated. And where we're going to go is to a place in America here called Devil's Tower. This, albeit you may think it's not associated, it is. The men that drew the little white line on my rock also created this. The reason they put this here, and you'll see that they will tell you it's some geophysical thing that's created by lava or whatever. Listen, the thing's been built like that to represent to the fact, the same as Tunguska, is that if that was a tree, the power of force, because we have now moved further down the globe and closer to the equator, that the distance travelled in the time is further, so therefore it's faster. And therefore that is why that's there. It is not only there just for that reason, it is also there like Ayers Rock is in the centre of Australia. This one here is in the centre of America to show you the height of the water. This is the height of the wave that's going to go across America. Ayers Rock is showing you the height of the wave that's going to go across Australia. And the reason for those waves in both instances are exactly that. If we move out of the Devil Tower and get a view of America, you will see a rather large ocean and deep ocean here off the edge of a continental shelf. It's very similar to our own. This whole ocean here will just lift. This moves at 1,000 kilometers an hour like that. Okay? So that means, you know, that's moving 1,000 kilometers an hour faster than it's already going. It basically puts the entire ocean here right over the top of here. So this is not an exaggeration of the size of the wave. It is unfortunately exactly the size. Unfortunately, Judgment Day is here for some. Just exactly who it is, and I don't know, and I don't know how many people are going to be left on the planet. I mean, if I look at the parchment, we'll go back at that in a minute, it does say about 4 to 5 billion people are moving onwards, but it's certainly without doubt, and this is why I keep saying, this 666 thing is popping up. It's not me doing it, it's reality. My camera has been interfered with twice. It has not got a wireless device in it. I've had the same thing happen on my own desktop computer, and I unplug things, so I'm offline. I know I am, and I've had that happen. So they're obviously very, very skilled at manipulating electronics as well. I want to show you, whilst I've got this open, I will show you that in the instance here, in past, we are looking at a rather large collision here. We've shown you this before. These are marks from rather large asteroids coming in here. And this would have been used at some point probably to tilt the globe back this way, you know, after it's been sat straight for 12,000 years or whatever, whether it was on one like that. But it looks like they've come in from this side here, created this mountain range here, and it's been used to speed the rotation of the planet up. That is something I needed to mention to you as well. So really this is what we're talking about. There really is no place on the globe to stand. There is none. So you could think you're going to be safe in Greenland here, but that will not happen. Whereas it drills down here, it slices off here. So because you're further south, but it still slices, it'll just slice straight through the entire continent. And the same thing happens, it just explodes into a multitude of rock, pebble and whatnot. I want to go on from there. I've just brought up that plate just for a minute because I want to quickly discuss what we've said, what I've said this is for. It's showing both the inner and outer ring of rotation around the Sun so that we're pushed out beyond Mars for 40 million miles or so, and we're pushed back into the ring we are on. They do this, and I'm under the belief that the ocean steadying requirement of Atlantis is not required out here. This is the other reason why. But there's another reason why I've said that it was put out there at 186 million miles from the Sun, because the people that went through this event when the other star went, that they didn't see it coming. The event was at the speed of light. I also believe that in actual fact they say that here, but when you whip in, and I'll be honest with you, this whip speed still happens on this outer rim. That much I do know. The whip still happens, but I don't think they need the Sun, the Atlantis in to steady the oceans, but the whip is still there. It's still indicated. I've worked out the outer rim just for the sake of it at one point. I didn't put it in a video, I just wanted to know myself. But that's what I'm seeing indicated there. It's not as, the overall speed out there isn't as fast. It might be like a third, once again, a third as fast. So when we're whipping to 1,000 kilometres in here, the whip out there might only be 300 kilometres an hour or something of that nature. But the reason why I wanted to show you these, I'll insert them, these little swirls here. This rotational change of the planet does not actually change the rotation, in other words, the direction the planet turns in. It keeps going always the same way. It's just that when they go into one cycle, they lay it down that way and they bring it up that way. Okay, and it's spinning anti-clockwise or clockwise, and that's how they do it. So when they move it out to Mars, they lay it flat, and I'm saying, and I said the differences between these was 48,000 years, and it's not, it's actually 96,000 years. between each one of these. So if we're talking 100,000 years between each one of these changes in rotation, which is what this is going to be, because it happens, this rotation changes every 96,000, and it happens between the planes, which is exactly what it's telling us. So they're saying every 100,000 years, or 96,000 years I should say, they've recorded each one. I don't think that's actually reflective, or put it this way, I actually think that's reflective of human life on the planet, this. I believe what we are being shown, and I will insert a few images, is that when they made the decision to make sure that other life forms in the solar system had the ability to evolve, you know, they've chosen to do that. And I have a feeling humans might have taken longer to sort out than some others. I don't know. I don't know what their criteria is. Would be interesting to find out. I have a feeling we're going to find out very quickly. I want to discuss a few other things about time now, okay, because I'm absolutely certain I have the correct time and date of the event. So in other words, when our planet meets the plane of the sun, I'll have it to the hour and minute. Now I've just opened up an image here just of the rock. This is the same rock that drew the white line on it, so like I said, I'm not drawing that, that's the rock happening there. I wanted to say to you, and I'll insert another image, just look at this portion here where it says 17, there's a 1 and a 7 written there. It's not as clear there as in some other, but I just wanted to show you that one. This one here may be a little clearer. I'll just see if this one here opens up, but I wanted you to note that that's 17. I'll insert another image. This is where it used to have 4 in Roman numerals. Okay, and the reason why this is another one that has it there with the light, external light, so you can see the 17 a little bit clearer there. It was not like that. It was a 4 in Roman numerals. It changed. It didn't just change, it changed, and other white lines here made me get the light, and I looked at this and then saw all this structure here. I won't go into that because we've done that before. The reason I wanted to come back here was I thought the first time my camera was interrupted with was that file NVI1111, which was 111 years and 1 day from the Tunguska event in 1908, which is telling us exactly what happens. It marks a location that slows the planet. It also tells us what happens when the whip speed happens, that it breaks every tree on the planet. Every tree on the planet gets snapped at its base. That's how fast it goes. The reason the 17 came up, I thought it'd given us the 1st of the 7th, because it was. The 1st of the 7th this year was 111 years and 1 day since Tunguska. Cyclone Tracy, I will take you now to Ayers Rock, and we'll have a look at that, where it is, and we'll discuss Cyclone Tracy, okay? Because what I want to do now is tell you a date, okay, and I'll explain to you why the 1st of the 7th is valid, but what we got was another 18 months. So from the 1st of the 7th, 18 months is 3 6s, that's why it is the way it is. From the 1st of the 7th we had 18 months. As soon as we went past the 1st of the 7th, you only have 17 months, which is why that's the way it is. Now I'm going to tell you the day and time exactly respect to Cyclone Tracy. Now I've just brought an image up on the screen as Cyclone Tracy. I will let you know what this is a natural event, albeit it is natural, it was a created event. That's how smart people we are talking are that can manufacture billions of rocks with this high-tech information on them. This happened in 1974. What it's actually doing here is marking where our time starts on our parchment. Okay, so the line of longitude, our 3:30 AM is hence that line of longitude that this is on. Cyclone Tracy is the same line of longitude as Ayers Rock is on. It is on the same line of longitude that the globe tilted on, and it was done so to let us know what we can expect. Total devastation, that's it, you know, nothing's going to be standing. nothing. There will not be a house or tree or anything anywhere. When this rotational speed of the planet is allowed to happen, it goes bang, and it is major, okay? It totally wipes out everything we have on our planet. We are hoping that our Prime Minister does what is necessary, and like I said, there is this 666 thing is all over this. It's all over the sequences. The people that are being judged here and have been given many warnings are these people that seem to go along and rape and eat and murder children and humans, other humans, you know. I mean, this is putrid, and would appear to me to be that there is a very, very strong attachment to our parts or thereof of within the military complex within our world. Hence, like I said, we're talking buying Greenland. It will not be here either. It will be like the South Pole will be drilled. That one will be sliced. So that's why that's there, but I wanted to give you a confirmed date. Now why I do that is I want you to have a look at this inserted rock here. Where I found this in Charity Creek, it had 32.5 on it written in Egyptian. Okay, I know where I wasn't at 32.5, it wasn't quite there. This is the same thing again. I believe that we are being told a date here, and I'll go back to the rock now and look at the imagery that we see on the rock and understand what we're seeing, because on the rock we are now seeing the date and time. So when we look back at the rock here and realise that that's what that 17 means, it means the 1st of the 7th, from that point we had 18 months, and that was the 1st of the 7th this year, because it was 111 years and 1 day since the Tunguska event. Okay, Tracy was 1974, which, like I said, is 48 years ago or thereabouts. I wanted to show you the parchment. Now I bring us back to the parchment now, and I will tell you and confirm the date and time, and it won't be wrong. The time, the location for the time is the line of longitude that goes through Ayers Rock, which is this side of the event. It'll be this side because the event they will depict as being a natural event. If they do not turn the device on in the planet and these things are allowed to happen, the event will take place at 3:30 Central Time on the 24th of the 12th in 2020, which is 17 months from the 1st of the 7th. That is when that event will take place, and it will be, like I said, Central Australian time. There's one other thing I'll show you, and why I mentioned at the very start. I'll put the balloons on the screen now, and we will talk whilst I put those balloons on the screen, and I've told you in the last instance of what we need to do if you're going to try and save yourselves, as being a balloon the other side of the mountains with 1,000 miles of very, very straight flat land in front of you, tethered to the ground, so that when the whip action takes place, the tether breaks at a 200km/h pull or something of that nature. And you may very well save yourselves. You probably wonder why I tell you that, and after having told you that I believe my mother murdered in a ritual sacrifice, and the very federal government I am, in the country that I'm a member of, very protective of this type of behaviour, that it's certainly unacceptable by my standard, and certainly is unacceptable to the standard of the people that spin our planet around the sun. The technology I'm seeing just on the rocks is way, way, way more than we could possibly imagine. I'm just going to insert something now that you can look at and watch these lights flash across here. What you're seeing there is very, very complicated. It is getting powered by light. It is LEDs. It's not LEDs lighting up there. What you're seeing is carbon fibre optic cable, or I should say what you're seeing there is optic cable that runs far differently than ours. Ours runs from A to B. Theirs runs Well, from A to Z and everything in between, and both lateral all the way, that's how they're doing that. They're flicking those lights from one line to the other. In actual fact, we're seeing a routine run there. Routine video generation. It is really quite amazing. That is amazing technology. I'll put the balloons on the screen now and understand that why I told you they exist. There are bad people on our planet, very, very bad people, and they have had some people, and I've heard results in the, I'll put an insert here of a Hampstead case. It was a case in England about these boys, a boy and girl that had been told what had happened to them. I believe their original story would be 100% correct. There is without doubt in the evidence I was shown at some point an attachment to my family, and there would also be a place in Christchurch. I lived in Christchurch in New Zealand. It would seem that we have family visiting Christchurch in England, which is Christchurch grammar. It's actually mentioned in that very case that I've just put up there about the Hampstead children case. So I would expect that that had a fair bit to do with why Mum's murder wasn't investigated. Because of that situation, there was an attachment to a government-protected child sacrificial, child sacrifice and sacrificial murder or whatever. It's despicable, and I can tell you now, the people that have got the marks on the rocks are not going to put up with that any longer. They're asking us to change it. So this is the one thing I want to say to you is this. All these things we've discussed, all the messages in the pyramid that we're seeing here about planetary motion, none of this would exist if in actual fact the people that were coming here were wanting to come down and just kill us all, because they have the technology and the skill. They could just come down here and say, okay, well, these are the people we want to take off the planet. We'll take this 4 billion off the planet. We will smash it. The 4 billion people that take off in the planet are sitting up in a UFO looking at Earth get absolutely totaled, right? And then they're not going to have too much trouble convincing that 4 billion people, are they? That's in reality that how they could do this. The situation would be that there wouldn't be any message on any rock. There wouldn't be a pyramid. There wouldn't be a serapeum or a tower or a temple in India. None of it would be here. So they're by their message in the way they've relayed this to us, they are saying we don't want to do that. We don't want to come down here. We don't want to not turn the device on. Otherwise it wouldn't be here. It just wouldn't matter. They want to turn the device on, but they are not happy with the situation. And if they're sort of like giving our leaders a decision here where you say, okay, well, do you want to go on with your civilization the way it is, or do you want to start with nothing again? Because that's what happens here. So it doesn't matter who comes back to the planet. They're not going to keep coming back to much, that's for sure. I know who it is that comes back to the planet in the instance that happens. I don't know, it might be you lot. That's if you're not dead. I see a lot of you dead, straight up. I'm seeing that. That's why they've got the skulls underneath all the imagery that we see. There's human skulls everywhere. I can find in images piles of them, 20 foot deep. That's what happens on the rocks. You can get them to positions where that's exactly what you're looking at. Death. They don't want that. They don't want that. The message wouldn't be here if that's what they wanted. They want us to act, to shut down the show, lads. And if you don't shut it down, that's what they're going to do. So I'm only, like I said, merely just a messenger here. I don't know how or why it's me. I expect there'd be a ritual sacrifice of some description or another in respect to Mum's murder. And like I said, there was an attachment. There's an attachment to my family, and I won't go into it any further than that. And I've had to say that in this video because you have to know the following, right? Because there are other things to do with where I moved to when I moved to Wingham here. When I moved to Wingham, it was 3 hours and 15 minutes beyond where Mum's old house was at McMaster's. It's 3 hours and 15-minute drive. Since Mum was murdered, the very day she was murdered, I've woken it every day at 3:11, between 3:11 and 3:14, and 3:11 and the tidal wave in Japan. That was after that. I've been waking up since 3:11, since Mum died. That was 2006. So I've had these things happen as well, which is why I'm saying this 3:11 I've been waking up here. I used to live in Adelaide, so I was actually living on Central Time. I know there's 20 minutes difference between us and Adelaide, so in actual fact the 3:11 that I've been waking up is in actual fact 3:31. That's what it is, 3:31 Central Time. And I've been waking up at that time in the morning, and I've never woken up in my life ever until that day, and that's what actually happened. So I'm absolutely certain, without doubt, that that'll be the day we actually meet the plane of the sun. There is no point trying to do anything here with this business you have running. Has to shut down, they do. And I can tell you now, they shut it down very permanently. And I guess in the end, I've been upset at times. I've got, like I said, I have obviously family attached to such a thing, and you boys and girls need to sort this stuff. It needs to be sorted out. I would think that rather than sit here and try and get a balloon up in the middle of Central Australia in the middle of next year, or at least the day before Christmas Eve next year, we could all be holding hands, or I say we, I'm certainly not on that side of the fence where you people, raping and eating and doing such things with children. I cannot believe that people do that, honestly. I'll just insert a few images. These are off the rocks over the last months. When we see the message that we've got, it's safe to assume, and it's not, an assumption, it's a very logical, common sense thing, that the message wouldn't be here at all if they actually wanted to come down here and kill you all. And by this I mean by you all, I mean the leaders of the world, or the 666, the people behind the raping and murdering consumption of babies and such things. This behaviour is obviously unacceptable. When I say babies, they don't say babies, they mean the whole lot, but it's the whole thing of human consumption. It would appear to me to be the message wouldn't exist at all. It wouldn't be here. If their intent was, when they arrived, was to kill you all, there wouldn't be a message here. They'd just come and kill you all, and then they would, the people that have come here would then prove to you why and how and so on and so on. So in not doing that, I would expect that they seem to be, to me, leaving us a message, or at least you guys a message, the leaders of the world, whether you be human or not. Like I said, I say that, and it might sound a bit weird, but in reality, some of the decisions on a global sense that you make, if you're a room of learned men and women, you are making some pretty stupid, really, really stupid decisions. Even just when it comes to the, the well-being of the planet itself, let alone the, men and women and life forms that live on it. So some of the behaviour is almost inhuman, to the point of the stupidity is unbelievably pathetic. But moving along from that, then, we still have this message. So I'm seeing this as a message to you guys to say, listen, it's of no benefit to mankind to be, there's just no benefit. We don't learn anything if we all get erased at this point. Whereas if when they get here, and the situation has been taken where you've put your hand up and said, no, fair enough, this is what's gone down, and we do not want the planet to be absolutely swept clean, there'll be some of you that will be put in jail, I would expect, and never to be released. That would be what I would expect. I wouldn't expect them to come down here and kill you all. They may. I don't know. There may be some of you that are facing a death penalty, but I just don't see that. You know, you just don't leave a message. The message is repetitive over and over and over. It is extremely big in its format to you. And like I said, I've always thought the rocks were a message to the human race itself, you know, so that they look at each one of us just as individually as they look at each rock, you know, and design each rock. So that could be what they mean there. Look, we need to move on and we need to improve our society. That's what we need to do, and that's what they would prefer happen. That is without doubt within their message. So that's all I want to say. I'll finish off with that and just say, from a personal point of view, if in actual fact there are members of the family associated with things, they need to be sorted too, guys, because this is 18 months away. The mere fact it's 18 months is 3 sixes. This is to everybody I'm talking now. 3 sixes, you know, cut my video making out in the middle of this file. This is the name of the file that happened once before, and like I said, the other one was 1111. You know, it was, and I know how to use my camera. The other funny thing is, like I said, they do that on my camera, and I do not have this camera is an SLR digital camera, but it does not have a network interface and never has been networked to anything in the house. It doesn't have that capability. This is why I'm saying they are letting us know by the balloons on the rocks as well that, you know, they have full control of things here. Whether you think they have or not, they can talk, and I did say that once before. You do not need a wireless device for them to have an ability to intercept or intervene into the insides of an IC, like directly into the processor. They do not need a wireless connection, and that's on any processor right across the world. But anyway, so like I said, with that sort of technology, really, there is no answers. You know, a failure to just do as... And the one other matter that I did want to say is that in their message, they are saying to me, in my opinion, I've pondered this, but I would think that they would prefer, which is the other reason why the balloons are there. There are certain people, like I said, that amongst you that have been brought in from a very young age, and you want to get out of something because you think it putrid, but it's all you ever thought was real, and you're in that position, right? In the new world order that will be, not the one intended by our 666 mob, but the new world order brought to us by the people that are going to come down here and make sure these 666 mob are gone. You people in a community, when we build a new one, are actually far better in our community. It actually makes it stronger. And the reason it does is because you've been on that side of things. So you are, in actual fact, you become the new preachers as such in the new world. And you're the real preachers because you teach the truth. So in actual fact, I see that as a that's why they give us the 18 months. Or, you know, why would you get them? You just wouldn't get 18 months. You got 18 months for 3 sixes because of that reason. They are saying, in the long run, our new community will be best built by us and us facing the facts. Okay, and that is what's been allowed to happen. Whoever they be, whether they be human or whether they be, like I said, reptilian or some breed of other people, I do not understand that bit, but I'm merely saying that it would appear to me, without doubt, that is why they give you that 18 months, is that you are better giving the ability to walk away knowing it was so bad, and picking up and understanding the truth and knowing it and then teaching that. the rest of you teachers and university lecturers and all such people that may think you are out of the firing line, but you have been taking public monies and spreading untruths by wherever it be pushed. Seriously, you guys, you're going to be on the list. You need to start talking. We need our history books to change, and we need to make it happen very, very quickly. Yeah, so now I'll finish off there, and I just hope our leaders make the right decisions. This is Brian Whitten and ETR. Thanks very much. Have a nice day.